SGNP wants to thank their newest sponsor and underwriter, Blinkist. And today you say, what is Blinkist? Well, let me tell you a little bit about them. In today's age, it's hard to find time to sit down and learn more. You know it is. It's not easy when the likes of social media can be so addictive and time-consuming, and you think you don't have time to read a book anymore or develop yourself. There is an app I can highly recommend. It's called Blinkist. Stick around to the end of the show today, and I'm going to tell you all about Blinkist. But you got to stick around to the end of the show because this app will change your life. Blinkist. It's spelled real easy, Blinkist. Stick around to the end of the show and learn more from Southern Gospel News Podcast.
Welcome to SGNP. Sit back for the next few minutes and hear stories heard nowhere else on radio, in a magazine, or on the internet. We're the audible voice of gospel music. Our sole purpose at SGNP is to inspire, edify, encourage, and entertain. Now, here's our host, Darren Sutherland, and his partner, Southern Gospel Music Association President and lead singer for Dolly Parton's own quartet, the Kingdom Heirs, Arthur Rice. What's wrong with living right anyway?
And welcome back to SGNP, Darren Sutherland, and my co-host, SGMA President, Arthur Rice of the Kingdom Heirs. Arthur, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Nice summer day. Love it.
It is a nice. Well, you got some good news that we need to share with everybody.
Yeah.
Now, we saw it on Facebook, but if the folks hadn't listened to Facebook or don't go to our Facebook page, at Southern Gospel News Podcast, or your Facebook page, Arthur Rice, tell them what happened. Just give them some good news.
Well, we had the opportunity came up to kind of save a piece of history. Cathedrals Quartet. Everybody loves the cathedrals, and their bus, Silhouette, the last bus that they had, came up and it was actually going to be scrapped. It was going, and the last folks that had it, Forgiven Quartet, and actually were coming off the road. They were retiring, and the motor blew in it, and like I guess that was one of their deciding factors to retire, not fix it. But they purchased it about 15 years ago from Ernie Haas. Ernie had got it for Signature Sound. I think they rode it for a couple of years there when they first started, and after the cathedrals retired, and then Forgiven have been in it for about 15 years, and so they decided that they wanted to donate it to the SGMA, but we had to come up with the money to get it here from Oklahoma. And so the towing bill was about, as you can imagine, that thing. We had to put it on a lowboy and to get it here because it wasn't drivable, and cost us about $7,000 to tow it here.
Wow!
And so, anyways, we raised the money for that. Folks just outdid themselves, and God just showed out and helped us to make that possible. And we finally got it here this past week, sitting here in Sevierville. Not really sure what I'm going to do with it. I tell folks I'm kind of like a dog chasing the car. Now that I got it, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it. But now that I got it, I'm just glad to get it.
Well, is it sitting in your yard at home?
No, not in my yard. We actually got some friends that gave us a storage area to put it in, and of course, it happened so fast that we really have no plans for it other than I think we're going to try to take it to NQC this year, and so make it available for fans to be able to tour that, and so then we'll move on from there.
That'll be neat, and it's good to see people come together, Arthur. It really is good.
It really is.
And you know what? Truth of the matter is, and people can say this about social media. They can say, all that stuff's no good, but without social media, you wouldn't have been able to pull this off so quickly.
Not that quick, because it really, when we found out about it, we really only had just a short time to move on this thing and get it, and really, if it wasn't for social media, I don't think we could have done it. And so
How many people you think? Give or take 20 folks. How many people you think gave at the end of the day? I
had about 20 28 people that gave $100 or more, because we did a drawing for a autographed picture of the cathedrals that for the winner of whoever gave $100 more. We drew out a name, and Joshua Sims actually won that.
Yeah.
And so we had 28 people do that, and then I don't know the total number of folks that gave 25 or more. I haven't figured that up yet, but we figured that we needed 350 at 25 to kind of get enough to break even.
Well, thank you for everybody who gave and who everybody's gave.
Absolutely.
They'll see the bus at NQC or one day at the SGMA Hall of Fame there in Sevierville in some form or fashion, and that's a great project. Hey, I want to tell you about another project. I promised my good friend Todd Nealon that I would bring up on the show today before we get started too much. And Todd runs, Todd played the bass for his dad with the Nealons for years, and a lot of folks don't know this. He played for Gold City for a couple of weeks at one point, and filled in for those guys back in their heyday. But Todd owns a roofing company now, and he loves gospel music. He's also the minister of music at his church, but he also has a little fundraising thing that he does called Love Thy Neighbor, where he helps people all across the country, and especially right here in Metro Atlanta when it comes to needs for their house and this, that, and another. But he posted on Facebook last week that he's going to do a Love Thy Neighbor golf tournament, and to benefit your good friend and his good friend, Squire Parsons. Okay?
Awesome.
That's going to be September the 19th, 2019. Now, you can go to Todd's Facebook page and check it out, or I'll put it on the SGN page, the SGNP page, and let you check it out. But he's looking for whole sponsors at $100 a piece. So, Arthur, knowing that he was doing it for your good friend, SGNP, decided we'd sponsor a hole for $100. And awesome. We're going to do that for Squire. And, Squire's been a good friend of yours for a long, long time. And, we talk about different folks on this airways. And a lot of the people that we talk to that I don't know in personal ways, but I've never heard you talk about someone with more class and respect than when you talk about Squire Parsons and how you feel about it. And tell folks a little bit about Squire. You can go back and listen to our interview with Squire,
Absolutely.
But just tell folks a little bit about Squire and his family, Arthur, if you would.
I tell you, Squire is just absolutely just true blue. There's folks out there that are good people, and Squire is just one of the best. He just has been such an encouragement to me through the years, and so many folks. And just Squire, he loves the local church. He's always loved and supported the local church, and I guess I kind of got a lot of that from him because I'm kind of that way too.
There's a train at Dollywood.
I know. I know it. Actually, I'm at my wife's jewelry store here, and
okay.
I'm in the back room. I snuck off in the back room here, and that's the doorbell.
That's funny.
So she's going to work here.
That's funny.
Sorry about that. But I'll tell you, Squire he's just a great guy, just a super guy.
And I know his family will appreciate that. And folks want to play that golf tournament. It's coming up September the 19th. Well, Arthur,
hey, we're also doing a. For those that don't know, Squire had to retire. This year he had heart surgery, and he's been suffering in battle with leukemia and diabetes and different ailments, and he just he wants to go, but he just physically just can't do it anymore, and so he retired this year. So we're actually having a benefit concert for him this August, and I'm sorry, but I don't have it right in front of me, the date, but you can find that on. I'll post a video, and there's some posters on Facebook and stuff about the concert. It's going to be in Asheville, North Carolina, Trinity Baptist Church. And I apologize for not having that date in front of me, but
we'll get that posted on SGMP, Southern Gospel News Podcast website, and we'll share it with our good friend Paul Pitts and a lot of other folks that's got great social media sites. out there, and you'll see that information coming up. So there's a lot of ways in which you can help Squire, but none better. I mean, you can give money, and that's great, but none better than just lifting him up in prayer as he walks this world. Well, Arthur, we're going to take a quick break, going to play a song, then we're going to be right back with some more information on Southern Gospel News Podcast.
Hey, I'm Karen Peck Gooch with Karen Peck and the River, and you're listening to the best in gospel music right here on SGNP.
Darren Sutherland here once again with you, and got to take a little short break and talk about one of our companies that make SGNP possible, MyPillow. And Arthur, rumor has it they were supposed to mail you some of their new premium sheets. And they're great sheets, and you got them. But what else did you get? I mean, you called me and you said, "Man, they sent me bed sheets like you promised," but you said your wife was jumping up. They're jizza cotton sheets or something like that. But what else did you get?
They sent some pillows, and so it worked out great because, of course, my wife and I have had pillows, and so the boys are so excited because they've got pillows now, and so they're excited. But man, I love these sheets. They're awesome. The cool thing about them is most of the mattresses now are so thick that normal sheets they won't stay on. You know, every morning you got up and you got to put the fitted sheet back on where it's come off during the night. Man, these things are great. They're really deep, and we've had them on for a week or so now, and they ain't come off one time. So.
There you go. 60-day money-back guarantee. Deep pockets to fit every corner of any mattress. Ultra soft, breathable, extremely durable, satin woven from Egypt, I believe. I think they get the cotton in there and that's MyPillow. Give them a call today, 1-800-544-8939, 1-800-544-8939. Make sure you use the promo code SGNP. For MyPillow, Mike Lindell and the guys support gospel music. Why not support a company that supports gospel music? MyPillow, 1-800-544-8939. Use the offer code SGNP. Get you some like Arthur. You like them, don't you, Arthur?
I love them.
I've been singing about my Lord for many years. I've sung when I've been happy. I've sung when I've had fears. Some folks have even questioned if it's all been just a show. Well, the reason that I'm still singing, I'd like the world to know I sing because there is an empty grave. I sing because there is a power that saves. I sing because His grace is real to me. And I sing because I am not alone. I sing because someday I'm going home where I shall sing through all eternity. I've sung to those walking through the fiery trial. I've watched saddened faces turn into happy smiles. But I've had to bow my head and whisper, oh Lord, do the same for me. I'm so glad that I can tell you He's always given victory. For I sing because there is an empty grave. I sing because there is a power that saves. I sing because His grace is real to me. And I sing because I am not alone. I sing because someday I'm going home where I shall sing through all eternity. And I sing because I am not alone. I sing because someday I'm going home, where I shall sing through all eternity.
And welcome back to SGNP. Darren Sutherland, my good friend Arthur Rice. You heard Squire Parsons there singing. Got to play a Squire song if we're going to talk about it and then take a break.
Absolutely.
I mean, you just got
so many great songs he's written through the years. And just, wow.
Let me ask you a quick question about Squire. And this is not a Squire show today, and we don't have a specific guest today. We're just going to talk about life in general more than anything else. But when you were a young man and you were traveling with Squire, when did you just look over there and say, man, this guy wrote Beulah Land. This guy's something else. I mean, when did you realize that? Or was you just too young and don't want to say this mean word, but was you just too young and ignorant to realize,
probably,
hey, this is Squire Parsons?
Probably. I growing up, I didn't really grow up around a lot of the big names in gospel music. And I started, when I was 21, 22, somewhere around in there, and kind of being around these folks. And man, all these great artists, that I knew, they just opened their arms to me. They were just so kind and so accepting of me when I first started, and they were just so kind to me, and they quickly became my friends, so I looked at it, we're all in the same boat, we're still on the same job, and that's to tell people about Jesus. So. As far as stars, I never have really had folks that I put up on a pedestal, because I know everybody's human. Everybody has their, everybody has their issues and things, but, we all have a place in this world of what we do, and what I do, you can't do, and what you do, I can't do. And, that's what the Apostle Paul said. So,
I've never asked you this question, but I'll ask you this, and I can tell you who mine was, and you'll laugh when I tell you who mine was. Have you ever met somebody and you were just totally mesmerized by meeting them, and somebody that was allegedly famous, or somebody that's maybe it's a gospel singer, or somebody that's a business person? I mean, I've been fortunate enough to meet Donald Trump. I've met Joe Biden. I've met countless other folks. But when I met Hulk Hogan, that kind of shocked me, because I'm sitting there looking at, when I'm a kid, that's a superhero. You follow what I'm saying? You just, you're thinking Superman, Batman, Hulk Hogan, and here he is in the flesh. This is him. Yeah. And I was kind of blown away when I met him. First time I met Vestal, same way. I mean, I really, truly was. Can you think of any individual that you've ever met in person or shook hands with that you were like, wow? And like I said, I've met Trump, I've met Joe Biden, I've met a lot of different folks, and had the ability to talk to a lot of great folks, even on this show. But those stick out.
Gosh, probably for me it would be Jake S. Jake was just, it's Jake S.
Yeah,
I mean, that is amazing. Just the years that he's put in, and just all the great songs that he's done.
Did you stutter over your words when you were
a little bit
talking?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. And the cool thing is we got to travel with him when he was with the Masters 5.
Right.
We were with Century 2 and Sonny Simmons.
Right.
And so we were on a lot of programs together. So through the years when I was with Kings, and so I got to spend a lot of time with those guys, and they became really good friends. And I loved just having a few minutes just one-on-one, just talking about stuff,
Yeah.
And not necessarily, music stuff, just life. Just stuff, and it was great.
The last 2 years, you talk about the Masters 5, the last 2 years of his life, Hovey Lister became an extremely good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he lived right here in Atlanta, and I shared many conversations and many phone calls with him, had him in the studio, had lunch with him, just countless. You know what? I can honestly say I never saw Hovey without a suit and towel. Never.
No.
Never. And and I saw him in I had him on my radio show one time, and he was to be at the studio at 6:00 that morning. He showed up fit to kill. Just
dressed to the nines.
Dressed to the nines. And it's just a certain class.
Yeah.
About those guys and about those people.
I remember when I was, I'd only been with the Kingsmen just a couple of years. And so, we'd worked with them some, but not a tremendous amount. He met me, but, you meet so many people and there's so many, artists that, go through groups and that sort of thing. And, that don't last. They're here one day and gone tomorrow. But, right after that, I'd gone to down to Nashville, and I was going to Opryland or sometimes, and it was not very crowded. It was almost, I think it was quitting. I think it was right at leaving, and I'd left and came out. The park had closed. Well, Hovey and another guy were walking in, and this Hovey, he don't have to know me or anything. I was and he actually stopped and called my name and just said, and I thought, man, that's really, that's pretty cool that he would, recognize me in some place that wasn't a singing, or something like that. And he just stood there and just talked to me, and just great. Just all those old guys are just great. I wish never met one of them that really disappointed me. I just loved them all.
About 3 months before Hovey passed, I came home. I was single at the time, raising 2 kids, and I came home one night, and I remember it was November because it was in the time of the year when it's changed. It's 7:00 and it feels like it's 10:00 at night because time has changed or something like that.
Yeah.
And I walk in the house and I hit the answering machine. This is before everybody had cell phones and answering machines and this, that, and other. It wasn't that long ago, actually about 15 years ago, and or maybe a little bit longer. But I hit the play button on the answering machine, and it was Hovey. And he says, Darren, and it just in that Hovey voice.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you, I listened to your show today, and that stop set you did with those quartets, that was first class. Warren Roberts couldn't have done it any better. And you know what, man? I wished I'd have held on to that. I really wished I would have held on to that.
Yeah.
And not trying to put myself in the same class as somebody like Warren Roberts, but it was just he didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He didn't have to do that. Yeah. So, I think we can all learn stuff from people like Hovey and Jake.
Absolutely.
And even JD. I mean, JD was JD. The one thing I loved about JD, Arthur, and I met JD 2 times in my life, is everybody said, when you meet him, he's going to be direct and blunt and to the point and get right to it. And you know what? He was direct to the point and got right to
exactly. First time I met him, exactly. But you had to love him for it. I mean, it was just him, and
I've never asked you this question about JD, and maybe you can answer it, maybe you can't. Okay, maybe you'll say pass. But this is our tough question for the day. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go back to Louisville, Kentucky. You were there that night at the NQC, and I want to know from the artist perspective. I'm not going to go into what the promoter's perspective was because I know what that was, and I think they've lived to regret that moment. A lot of them have. J.D. Sumner and the Stamps are standing on the stage at the National Quartet Convention in Louisville, Kentucky, and J.D. starts talking, and he says, welcome back the prodigal son of gospel music, who at that time, and let's face it, the culture we lived in then was a little bit more judgmental than it is now, and Michael English had failed and went through some things that we won't bring up, but J.D. brought him back up on the stage that night. What was we know we've all heard the stories and the rumors of what a lot of folks didn't like it, but as an artist and as a performer, what was the chatter amongst those guys to what JD had just done, because there was only one person in the world that could have pulled this off at National Quartet Convention, and that was JD Sumner.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he founded the National Quartet Convention, and they couldn't keep him away from it just from a historical perspective. I guess they could. But what was the thought process going through your mind?
I loved it. I always think, our fans are the most accepting people. I mean, they love you through everything. And, we're all just human, and we all make mistakes. We all mess up, And, I mean, it's like buddy of mine were talking today, it's, you look at, especially the Old Testament, you look at a lot of those guys, David, you look at their lives and you look at them and you think, man, they did some ungodly stuff. But the Bible says they were godly men.
Yeah.
And they messed up and they had made mistakes. God, He's the God of second and third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. His mercies renew each day.
Say goodbye to yesterday. Nothing standing in my way. Never was a guarantee, but in my heart I know there's got to be healing. Gonna take some time, I'm on the mend, I'm healing. Starting over at the end and feeling stronger than I've ever been. I'm I can see me pulling through, finding out I'm someone ahead, is moving on and letting go, picking up the pieces along the road to healing. Gonna take some time, I'm on the mend, I'm healing. Starting over at the end and feeling stronger than I've ever been. I'm chapter's been written, it's all in the past. I kept turning pages, and I'm here at last. I'm healing. Gonna take some time, I'm on the mend, I'm healing. Starting over at the end, I'm healing. Stronger than I've ever been, I'm healing. I'm healing. Stronger than I've ever been, I'm healing. Gonna take some time, I'm on the mend, I'm
Arthur, I've sat back and let me share this, and I've shared this on social media. I haven't shared this on the program yet, but I'm going to share it for two reasons. I'm not sharing it to get pity from anybody. I'm sharing it to get prayers, but I'm also sharing it for men and women to hear it and get checked out themselves. let me just tell this story from the beginning, if I can, if you don't mind. And
Yeah.
you know about it. Back in January of this year, I started working out pretty heavy. And I said, I made a comment on Facebook I wasn't going to shave till I lost 50 pounds. Okay. Well, I lost about 15 pounds, and between my left knee and my ankle, I had this breakout in my shin of my leg, and it was these little red bumps under my skin. And my wife, of course, you need to go to the doctor. Oh, I don't need to go to the doctor. I'm fine. You need to go to the doctor. Oh, I don't want to go to the doctor. Well, finally, guess what, Arthur? Guess what happened?
You went to the doctor.
I went to the doctor because my wife said I went to the doctor. This is late February, early March. So I go to the doctor. They do it. He says, well, I can't figure it out. And he sends me to a dermatologist who, in turn, does a biopsy. And here I'm thinking the worst, because my daughter had cancer last year and overcame that. And I'm thinking the worst. And he says, well, we can't find anything. Sends me back to my primary care physician, who at that point refers me over to a rheumatologist. Now, I know I'm getting old when I have to go to a rheumatologist. I'm 49 years old, okay? Mm-hmm. But one thing I found, this great Christian guy, he's this guy from Africa, and a rheumatologist, and he says, I asked him, I said, what made you be a rheumatologist? And he says, I like finding out things. I like researching things. Well, they do this complete body scan on me, and they find out my heart's a little enlarged, okay? Now, I'm a big guy. I was at that point, I was 6'2", 270, right at that area. I'm not as svelte and as active as you, and I need to be, and I'm getting there. I promise you that at this point. But I was a little overweight, and he said, "Well, your heart's a little bit enlarged. I got to refer you." So he referred me to a cardiologist. Okay, so Arthur, here I go to my cardiologist. My cardiologist, 49 years old. I got my own cardiologist. I'm pretty important now, Yeah. So the wife and I go in to see him. Of course, she's nervous, and they do these EKGs and all that. And, I knew I had a godly man when he quoted Ananias and Sapphira. And I know I'm pronouncing Sapphira's name wrong. But anyway, he quoted him, and he said to my wife, he says, now, I know he needs to do something, and we both know he needs to do something. But don't be like Sapphira and say, oh, it's not me, blah, 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 blah. So, anyway, to make a long story short, he sends me to do some more tests. They do some more tests. Next thing you know, Arthur, make a long story short, I'm getting a heart cath. Next thing you know, last Monday I went to get a heart cath, and that's when we did the best of shows the past couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, they bring me back, and they said, Mr. Sutherland, because of where your blockage is, we decided not to put a stent in, and we're going to do bypass surgery. So at 49 years of age, Arthur, I get to go sit, and when you hear this show, Monday, my bypass will be Monday, July the 1st. So if you hear this past July 1st, I know the show will come out at the end of this week, but I'll be going through bypass surgery and recovery. So if I could be so bold, is just to ask all the listeners and all the fans and everybody who listens to pray for us, pray for us. Because if I told you I wasn't scared, I'd be lying. I'd be totally lying. But, through this thing, I will tell you this. I told somebody said, what's this like? And I said, well, the good part is that when they told me I was going to have bypass, they didn't say, we're wheeling you down to the emergency room right now. We're going to do this bypass tonight or tomorrow. It wasn't so serious that I had to do it right then. They gave me a little time to get things together here at my office and at work. And I've got an awesome staff, Sydney and Tim and Jacob and the folks here at the office, Tiffany that worked and Darlene that work here to get everything straight. So they gave me some time to do that, and they scheduled it July 1st. But I'm going to tell you what, man, the anxiety wears you out. Mm-hmm. The waiting. And I said to somebody, I said, what's the waiting like? And I said, the closest thing I could probably ever describe it to, and thank God I've never had to experience this, is somebody that got sentenced to go to jail, and they had to report on a certain day. You know what I'm saying? But
you know it's coming.
Yeah, you know it's coming. But you know what, man? God's faithful, and He spared me the fact that modern medical science figured out what I needed before you got a phone call one day and said, have you heard about your friend Darren? You know what I'm saying? How many friends have you had, that have I had, parents of friends that we got that phone call and said, hey, did you hear about what happened? Such and such.
I faced a mountain that I've never faced before. That's why I'm calling on you, Lord. I know it's been a while, but Lord, please hear my prayer. I need you like I never have before. Sometimes it takes a mountain, sometimes a troubled sea, sometimes it takes a desert to get a hold of me. Your love is so much stronger than whatever troubles me. Sometimes it takes a mountain to trust you and believe. Forgive me, Jesus. I thought I could control whatever life would throw my way. But this, I will admit, has brought me to my knees. I need you, Lord, and I'm not ashamed to say, oh, sometimes it takes a mountain, sometimes a troubled sea, sometimes it takes a desert to get a hold of me. Your love is so much stronger than whatever troubles me. Sometimes it takes a mountain to trust you and believe. Sometimes it takes a mountain, sometimes a troubled sea, sometimes it takes a desert to get a hold.
And here's the thing, that so many times that when that happens to us as Christians, the first thing we do, we think, oh, woe is me.
Yeah.
But you can't look at it that way. You have to remember that God knows exactly what was going to happen in your life, exactly what's going on in your life. And he knew before time what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And we have to realize that God has put you in this position, in this place, that you might be an encouragement or a witness to someone else who doesn't have the hope that you have. Because as a Christian, we know that, I'm a winner either way.
Yeah.
If I come out of this thing,
can I tell you the truth?
If I don't come out of this thing, great.
Can I tell you the truth? And you're going to laugh when
Yeah.
I say this. Since this has happened to me, I hate that old song.
Yeah.
Is that the wrong thing to say? I keep hearing it in the back of my mind. It's funny that you mentioned it. I'm a winner either way if I go or if I stay. But it's true.
It's the truth. It's the truth. If we can ever get by that thing that woe is me, God don't like me, I'm just, that kind of thing. You're like this because you like many of us, you ate too many hamburgers and hot dogs. You didn't walk as much as you needed to walk. And
another thing,
you know what I mean? It's your own fault. It's not God's fault. It's your own fault.
And a lot of it is, and I'm going to say this. My dad passed away when he was 52 years of age. My uncle passed away at 58. A lot of it, it's like the doctor said.
It's hereditary.
It's hereditary.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. My dad had congestive heart failure.
Yeah,
and that's why I do the extra things that I do now, because I know that if I don't, I'm going to have issues with that. And so, you have to, I think God makes us smart enough to do those things. It doesn't mean that we're smart enough to actually do them, but so. But we have to remember that God puts us in these positions because you may be in the hospital room with somebody who doesn't have the hope that you have, it's right. That peace that it's when the Scripture says it's peace that passes understanding. What is that? Well, we don't know what that is until we need it, and then all of a sudden it's there.
Yeah.
And you just have to trust the Lord that if it's good, if everything's great, wonderful. If it ain't, and I get out of here, that's even better.
Yeah.
All we know is here. This is, but we know if we read and study the God's Word that it's even better, than here.
Yeah.
And so, you think, well, I'm going to miss my loved one. No, you're not. Time don't exist in heaven.
That's right.
When you get there, everybody else would have just got there too.
Yeah.
And when your family dies, they'll get there at the same time.
It's right.
It's a whole different thing,
You know what's funny, Arthur, and this is what I keep thinking. And I was thinking, I'm 49 years old. I've got my own company. We do a podcast. I drive a new truck. I go where I want. I do where I want. I eat where I want. If I want to go to Longhorns, I get to go to Longhorns. You know what I'm saying? The Lord has blessed me.
We're spoiled.
But you know what I'm just learning about right now? Can I tell you? And I'm an infant at this.
Sure.
Is I'm learning wisdom. I really, truly am. And what I mean by that is I look at those old timers like we talked about earlier, like Hovey and Jake and folks like that. They had already learned so much by the time you were 21 and you were coming along. And you get to the point where you think you know everything at various ages. I remember when I was 21 and my uncle looked at me and said, if you know everything, pay the light bill. And I looked at him like, what are you talking about? Pay the light bill. But that is so true. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm 49 and I think I know everything, but I'm realizing more and more about grace. I think I'm realizing more and more about love. I think I'm realizing more and more about compassion. I'm looking at people in a different way. And, again, I don't say all this today to make people feel sorry for old Darren that, hey, he's going to have bypass surgery and blah, 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 blah. I'm not. I'm just saying, say a prayer for me, say a prayer for my wife, Mary, my son, Jacob, my daughter, Kendall, my mom. After that,
they need prayer as much as you do.
Yeah, they do. They're
going to have to put up with you.
Because my wife's going to have to put up with me. My son, he's already saying he's going to Florida for a month. So I can tell you this: I've never longed for August 1st so bad in my whole life. Yeah. But I've seen good stories, and But anyway, that's what's going on with me, and I wanted to share that with everybody, not to get everybody down, but just to say, hey. A lot of us gospel music folks, have ate more fried chicken when truth of the matter is, and I'm going to say something controversial here, and my fundamental preacher friend's going to get mad at me for saying this, but maybe instead of eating so many fried chicken legs, I should have had one glass of red wine to help the heart a little bit more. You think that'll stir some folks up this afternoon? But I'm Methodist. I can say that. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Even though I grew up Southern Baptist, hard sell at that. Hard sell at that. Hey, let's get on a better topic. A better topic than talking about all that. What Kingdom Heirs got that new project, Billboard's #1. In the gospel music set. You're going along it with,
well.
You've got a new show up there at Dollywood this summer that you guys are doing. How's things going for the Kingdom Heirs? I don't stop long enough and tell you guys, ask you guys how things are going because we're so busy talking to other people. But
it's really good. It's going really good. The crowds have been good. It's been a little, the weather's kind of affects, the park a little bit because of, when it's stormy and stuff, people, don't want to come. And,
right.
And I get that. I don't either, But we've had good weather. It's been a little bit stormy this summer, this June, but it's been good, and the crowds are doing good. We've opened a whole new section at Dollywood, kind of a whole new kids section, and that's really cool, and I think people are going to love. And of course, we're going right into summer, open till 9:30, 10 o'clock. We got the fireworks and all that kind of stuff, and so
yeah,
it's doing good. And we're doing good. Our programs are good. We got good crowds. People are got a lot. It never amazes. It amazes me every day.
Yeah.
Never ceases to amaze me every day. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That the amount of people, every time I ask, that are seeing us for the first time, it's incredible. It's 80% of the people that are there are seeing us for the first time, and we've been there for 34 years. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's just, it's like I was telling the guy today, it's just, man, what a great job to just tell people, just brag on Jesus, just to tell people about Jesus. And in a secular arena, and we covet your prayers. The devil hates what we do, and he don't like that we're there. He don't like what we do. He don't like that we're bragging on Jesus, and that we're in a public forum and getting to actually mention the word Jesus without it going, without it people going crazy. It's just God. And we just, we just covered everybody's prayer for that, that he'll allow us to continue to do that and to make us bold enough to do that.
Yeah.
And every chance we get. And so, I do. I covered everybody's prayers.
It's kind of neat.
I need it. It just,
it
really is.
It's kind of neat. 34 years Kingdom Heirs have been at Dollywood singing.
Yeah.
And that's through a date and time where, there was a time when you were traveling with the Kingsmen that y'all would sing at Busch Gardens, you'd sing at Kingsman, you'd sing you would sing Kingsman. You'd sing at Busch Gardens, you'd sing at Six Flags, you'd sing at Opryland. Mm-hmm. And with the exception of the park there at Dollywood and the exception of the park out there in Branson, Missouri, you don't see gospel music sing in theme parks anymore like it once was.
No, especially not Southern.
No, especially not Southern. I mean, you may, shoot, when you were the Kingsmen, we forgot Carol Winds. Y'all would sing at Carol Winds over there. And I mean, so the fact that y'all get to do that, and then the political climate we live in this world today.
Oh, absolutely.
And the fact that 80% of your audience has never heard you before, has never seen you before. Do you think the audience is a lot of times, and I say this in a respectful way, do you think the audience is many times, those 80%, realize the stature that you guys have in the gospel music community? Or do you think they just think this is another show at another theme park?
I don't think they even know to even think that.
Yeah.
I don't think they know enough about our music to even think that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like the old saying, depending on what part of the country, and
determines how ignorant you are.
Yeah.
You know, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't say they're ignorant. They're just maybe ignorant of the subject. You know.
Yeah.
And so you know, I'm ignorant about a lot of things. So
Me too.
I know that.
Me too.
So,
I'm trying to get
it depends
smart.
on what the subject is, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, but yeah, you know, it's and that's the thing I love about you know, where we are. We get to expose our music to so many people that for the first time, and so many people come up, man, you know, what is this music? And then you know, the Hall of Fame is next door, you know, and I always encourage them to go over there, you know, and just about you know, every day after I go, you know, I kind of walk by after our show to see how the crowds are in the museum, and it's always people are coming out there, and it's like, wow, you know, oh yeah, I remember this, or I saw that as a kid on TV, or you know, the Gospel Singing Jubilee, or the Black, yeah, I've heard of it, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's you know it's cool. It's a reminder, and it opens the door for I think other artists to you know, hopefully they'll kind of search that out, maybe come across somebody else, and that's what we wanted to do.
No doubt, because there's one thing about gospel music. There's a style, and there's a home for anybody who wants to listen to the music about Jesus, and that's exactly a great thing about it. Hey, real quick, Arthur, before we get out of here, and we got some great shows coming up, some great interviews that we've already pre-done. You know, Richard Hissong's coming up with us in a week or so, and great interview with him talking about the great state of Maine in the Northeast and the kind of crowds that are drawing up there.
That was a good interview. That was fun.
That was fun.
Richard was fun.
Yep. Scott Godsey and David Sams, I got to sit in on those, and
That's
heard them.
That's an interesting one, yeah.
And very interesting, and we've got some rather cool comments. And
it was interesting for us.
Yeah, it was. But it was.
Afterwards.
And then one that we go way back that we did before Easter, and it's a gentleman by the name of Mark Forster. And Mark and his family travel full-time singing gospel music, and most of you have probably never heard of Mark before this show. And he just loves the Lord. Been doing this, 25, 30 years, and just keeps on and on and on. And I actually wonder how many gospel artists could do what he does, quite frankly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, you know, he says he'll never get to sing in front of the gates or homecoming, but he'll get to singing at every funeral home in America. So, I mean, not funeral home, but every nursing home. I mean, we're close. I mean, heck.
Yeah.
Anyway, but hey, don't want to make nobody sad again, but pray for me this week, Arthur, and pray for me for the next month or so. And, Buddy, we'll be in touch with you. You know that. And I just want to say, if nothing else, thank you for co-hosting the show with me. You know,
hey, thanks for letting me be a part of it. It's been fun. I really have enjoyed it, and we've got to talk to some interesting folks, and you know, hope that we added to it and made you laugh at least.
almost right at 200,000 people have listened to it in the past year.
That's crazy.
200,000, and you know that's why we always say at the beginning of every show, we're the audible voice of gospel music, because you know what, they can say what they want, but 200,000 people's listening to you in a year, then we must be doing something right, you know. And I think the thing that we're doing better than anything else, Arthur, is we're just following the Lord, keeping it real, and talking straight from the heart, and not trying to be something we're not. Makes sense?
Yeah, you know, there's no hidden agendas. There's nothing, you know. That's we just that's one reason I wanted to be a part of it. You know, it's not, we don't have any hidden thing. You know, we're just trying. You know, we're having a good time trying to put a good program together, and you know, trying to encourage folks, inspire them.
Yeah, and we both got full-time jobs, so I mean, we could probably do a lot better production-wise, quite frankly. But we've got so much to do in our regular lives because we got to pay our bills. And let's just face it, Arthur. I mean, the show barely pays for itself. I'm not being mean when I say that, but I'm thankful for folks like MyPillow, and we got a new sponsor coming on called Blinkist that's working with us. But I'm thankful for folks like that for sponsoring.
Absolutely.
And make sure if you're going to get a MyPillow, I know I'm going to get a new one here after this heart surgery, probably holding one on my heart for about 3 weeks. Go to mypillow.com, type in that code word up at the top, SGNP, if you do that. And Man, I just appreciate it. All righty?
Yes, absolutely. Me too.
All right, boss. We'll talk to you soon. Arthur, one last thing before we
Thanks
get
for
out of here.
friend. Yeah,
What's wrong with living right anyway?
not a thing.
Thank you for listening to SGNP. If you're listening on radio, please note you can listen to our podcast 24/7 on your own schedule. Just download wherever you get your podcast from, or visit us online at southerngospelnewspodcast.com. To hear it on your smart speaker, just ask Alexa or Google to play Southern Gospel News Podcast. And after listening, please leave a remark in the remarks section and subscribe, and you'll receive our program free every Friday. And remember to check out Southern Gospel News Podcast social media for daily fun and giveaways. We're the audible voice of gospel music. We look to uplift you every week. SGNP, where it's all about the gospel.
I told you at the beginning of the show that when the show was over, I was going to tell you a little bit more about our new partner, Blinkist. Blinkist is the only app that gives you the best need-to-know information from thousands of nonfiction books and condenses them down in just 15 minutes so you can read or listen. So basically, guys, it's the Cliff Notes that you used in high school. There's so many great books out there. If you're like me, you watch a TV show, they put this book out and you say, man, I'd love to read it, but you don't have time. Blinkist condenses that book down, and you can use Blinkist to help you. 8 million people are using Blinkist right now, and it has a massive and growing library from self-help books, business books, health books, religious books to history books. I like Blinkist because it gives me information fast. I use Blinkist when I'm driving my truck down the road, and I can hear it through my app on my phone. And I recommend you check Blinkist out. Right now, for a limited time, Blinkist has a special offer just for our Southern Gospel News Podcast listeners. Go to Blinkist.com/Southern Gospel News Podcast to start your 7-day free trial. That's right, free of charge, no money. Go to Blinkist, BLINKIST/Southern Gospel News Podcast.com and start your 7-day trial. It's that simple. And hey, tell your friends about it, tell your neighbors about it, because a lot of you like to read. I read Bill Gaither's biography by Ken Abrams through Blinkist. Then it had me go back and get the whole book and read the whole thing. It's a great little thing. Blinkist. Thanks for sponsoring SGNP, and thanks for using Blinkist.